So it'd be like, okay, I gotta go. Be like, okay, gotta go. Come on, hurry. I need a break.
So we're going to break it down a little bit. So we start like this. Let's try it. Ready? You sound beautiful. The next part goes like this. You try. Listen. So that's the whole part. Let's try it again with repeating. Here we go. Your turn. Listen. You try. Listen. All right, we're sounding good. I want a few more voices. Let's put it together. Here we go.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is lovely to be together as one community. It is lovely to have so many of you here on this Shabbat. It is hot outside, but for once in the summer, we can find relief in the fact that it's actually hotter other places. And we are thrilled to get to be together, to celebrate joys, to honor and welcome the Sabbath, to be with those who bring pain and heartbreak, to share all of that as one community, to lift up our voices in song and in prayer. We, in order to do that and do that well, want to make sure that we turn off our cell phones and pagers, any things that rings, jingles, and buzzes, so that we can all be present to the work we have to do in the room. And we are going to continue this evening by inviting up Marilyn Nathan to lead us in the blessings for the lighting of the candles, which can be found on page 2.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all whom behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu, lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Why do we sing most of our prayers? I think it's not only because it's pretty, and I think it's not only because it's fun. There's something going on at a spiritual level when we sing our prayers that maybe isn't happening when we just speak them. We know from all of our experiences with music that music has the power to open us up. Music has the power to transform us in ways that words often can't by themselves. That's why song lyrics that are cheesy when you read them on the page are transformative when you hear them sung. And so we sing our prayers in an effort to try and open up in ourselves something new. And just as those prayers work, those melodies work to open us up in new ways, we hope that they will open up the object of our prayers. We hope that they will open up each other. We hope that they will open up even God. We say these prayers over and over and over again, and each time we try to find something new in them so that we can sing a new song to God, even with old words, and the melodies we choose and the way we pour our voices into them is one way that each time we turn old words into a new song for God. So our next prayer, Shiru Ladonai, sing a new song to God, can be found on the insert in your Shabbat handout. When we sing, we pray twice.
When we sing, when we sing, when we sing, we pray twice. When we sing, when we sing, when we Shir Adonai, Shir Adonai, Shir Adonai, Shir, Shir. Now pick a part. When we sing, Shir Adonai. When we sing, Shir Adonai. When we sing, Adonai. We pray twice. When we sing, Shir Adonai. When we sing, Shir Adonai. When we sing, Shir Adonai. Shir Adonai. When we sing, when we sing, we pray twice. When we sing, when we sing, when we sing, we are one.
Now that our voices are warmed up, we are ready to welcome the Sabbath bride, which we do with Lechado D on pages 20 and 21. We're going to sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9 this Shabbat because those are my favorites. And when we get to that 9th verse, we're going to rise, turn around, face the door, and welcome the Sabbath bride as she enters when we get to the 9th verse, page 20.
Lichadodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat, nekavela. Lichadodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat, nekavela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmianu el hamiluhad, Adonai echad, Ishmo echad, V'shemo tiferet v'litila. Lichadodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat, nekavela. Lichadodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat, nekavela. Likrat Shabbat, lechu b'echad, ki mekor ha'marava, me'od mikedem ha'aretz tzucha, sof ha'aseh b'machshavat tira. Lichadodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat, nekavela. Lichadodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat, nekavela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, Give la'or kumi ori, v'ri shir da'eri. Kivod Adonai alai nifila.
you are still standing, we're going to take a moment to greet each other, wish each other Shabbat Shalom. When you hear the band come back in, that's our cue to keep praying.
Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. That was fun. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
We continue on page 28 for Baruch Hu as we remain standing. Page 28. Ariv Aravim this evening, our prayer for the beauty and wonder of the evening is found on the insert, "The Night is Waiting."
The light is fading, the night is waiting for you and me. Let's rearrange the stars. The mystery lies in the color of the skies. When the words are on your lips that sweep the evening into being. The sun's gone missing, the moon is whispering my name, but I have to listen close. The arc of his ascension commands my full attention. The sky provides a backdrop of purples and blues. The light is fading, the night is waiting for you and me. Let's rearrange the stars. Umavir yom umevi laila laila, umavdil ben yom uben laila, Adonai tzivot shemo, El chai v'kayam, Tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Amari Aravi.
Pray with me in the English at the top of page 33. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. You may be seated. Page 36. ונפשך וכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בהם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו עשיתם את כל מצוותיי הייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם. At the top of page 39, standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. We thank God for the gift of freedom with Mi Chamocha on page 40. The words of Hashkivenu are found on page 42. They ask that God allow us to lie down in peace and then rise us up again in the morning to life renewed. Page 42.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Vehamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Vehamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim. Ushmor Tzeiteinu Uvoreinu Lechaim Shalom Me'ata ve'Adonai. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Vehamidenu 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 Shomreinu Lechaim.
We turn now to page 46, where begins our tefillah, the central portion of our service. We invite you please to rise as you are able.
Eloheinu, Elohe Avraham, Elohe Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei V'neihem, L'man Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chaim V'Chesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Zomech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gevurot, Umidom Elach, Melech Leimid Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Atah leHachayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol. Atah Kadosh v'Shimcha Kadosh, U'Kadoshim b'chol yom Yahalelucha Selah. Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
You may be seated. We pray responsively in the middle of page 55. Disturb us, Adonai. Ruffle us from our complacency. Make us dissatisfied. Dissatisfied with the peace of ignorance, the quietude that arises from shunning of the horror, the defeat, the bitterness, and the poverty, physical and spiritual, of humans. Shock us, Adonai. Deny us the false Shabbat, which gives us the delusions of satisfaction amid a world of war and hatred. Wake us, O God, and shake us from the sweet and sad poignancies rendered by half-forgotten melodies and rubric prayers of yesteryears.
Make us know that the border of the sanctuary is not the border of living, and the walls of your temples are not shelters from the winds of truth, justice, and reality.
Disturb us, O God, and vex us. Let not your Shabbat be a day of torpor and slumber. Let it be a time to be stirred and spurred to action. Baruch Atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Shalom Rav is found on page 60.
Shalom Rav HaYisrael Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav HaYisrael Tasim Le'olam. Ki atah Shalom Rav Tasim leolam, tasim leolam.
We take a few moments for the prayers of our hearts, and if you can't think of anything to say, make a list of 5 things you're grateful for today. I promise it will change your life.
This new melody returns as we now pray our beloved words, Ose Shalom. I love this setting because it includes the words that are in our Siddur on page 62 that we're not quite used to saying, Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, for all the inhabitants of the earth. May the one who makes peace in the heavens make peace for us, for all Israel, and for all the inhabitants of the earth. Oh, say shalom bimrama. Uya say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Ve'imru. Amen. Oh, say shalom. Oh, say shalom b'nama. Uya say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Ve'imru. Amen. Here comes that part you know so well. Yai la 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 la. Ya la la ya la 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 la. Ya la la ya la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Ya la la ya la 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 la. Ya la la ya la 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 la. Oh, say shalom b'nama. Uya say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Ve'imru. Amen. Here we go. Let me hear you. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la ya la 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 la. Ya la la ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la ya la 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 la. Ya la la ya la 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 la. Oh, say shalom b'nama. Uya say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael.
See what I meant about the possibility of melody to open you up? Having opened ourselves up to shalom, to peace, take a minute now to open ourselves up to a related thing, which is shleimut, wholeness. As we turn our prayers and our thoughts to those in our lives and in the life of our community who are in need of healing, of body and spirit and soul, who are in recovery, who are struggling with addiction, who are looking for shleimut, for wholeness. In our congregation, we're thinking particularly of Marilyn Blankenship, Marcia Block, Bradley Borden, Mickey Karsh, Richard Dana, Jan Feingold, Alan Garber, Fred Haff, Sarah James, Beverly Kovnat, Lisa Levine, Lawrence Levy, Michael Marcoux, Louis Silverman, Trina Underwood, Roger Williams, Linda Zoll, and Chena Rocha Mindel Bat Aaron Vitzipora. The words of our Misha Berach prayer, our prayer for healing, are found on page 253. A few brief announcements on this Shabbat. First, a couple of words of welcome. We are thrilled to have a group visiting us tonight from Duke who are here, some of them for the first time, some of them in synagogue before, and we're thrilled to have you, so welcome. And a second word of welcome, the summer is a time of transition, and we are thrilled that our newest staff member at Emmanuel is here this evening. Her name is Becca Schwartzberg, and I didn't warn her that I was going to do this. And she is our new youth engagement coordinator, and we are thrilled. If you are yourself a young person or you know a young person, they are going to get to know Becca really well. Becca, do you mind standing up so everyone can see your face? This is Becca. She's the newest member of our team. Yeah. She will be at dinner this evening, so please come and introduce yourselves to her. She is meeting lots of people this week, so be patient with her around the names. He says as someone who's been here 2 years and is still working on it. We would invite you to remain with us through the end of the service where we can say Kiddush and Motzi together. We are grateful to the sisterhood for providing this week's wine and challah. If you had an opportunity to pick up a Shabbat handout as you came in, all of our announcements are there in greater detail. I call your attention to a couple of things. Our Brotherhood has commenced pickups for its annual garage sale. If you've got junk you don't want, they want it. So you can see the information in the handout for arranging a pickup. We hope you'll join us for our Power Breakfast with Astros beat writer Chandler Rome on Tuesday, July 23rd. Please RSVP for this event. We have a planned phone system outage this Sunday, July 21st. If there is an emergency that requires pastoral or administrative assistance, the emergency number is listed in the program. No, the email you received was not spam. And lastly, we want to thank all of you who registered for tonight's Community Shabbat dinner, which will take place in the Ashman Multipurpose Room immediately following this evening's service. Unfortunately, we are unable to accept walk-ups this evening. I bring you regards from Green Family Camp, our regional Reform summer camp. I had the wonderful opportunity last week to go and visit with our kids and serve on faculty. While the rabbis, cantors, and educators are in camp, the Green staff try to give us a chance to try a variety of camp activities. And so I found myself on the faculty horseback ride last Thursday at dusk. That got a laugh? Just the concept of me on a horse. Okay. You're right. You're not wrong. It has been a while since I've ridden a horse, and I'm sure, just as you could, that the camp wranglers could tell. I did not look confident up there as I tried to remember how to get the horse to stop and start and turn. Let me tell you, it is nothing like riding a bicycle. It's not easy to steer a creature with a mind of its own. A couple of times my horse got real close to a fence or a tree and almost scraped my leg. I was pretty sure my horse had it in for me. He was trying to show me who was actually boss. The wranglers told me it was because horses are not really aware that the people on top of them have limbs and that they are wearing an itchy saddle and they're trying to scratch themselves. From where I sat, the horse had a vendetta. But maybe I would have understood the situation differently if I had been able to see things from the horse's perspective. In this week's Torah portion, we don't get a talking horse, but we do get a talking donkey. The story is that of Balak and Balaam. Balak is a Moabite king who has heard that the Israelites are approaching his territories on their journey towards the promised land. He knows that the Israelites have conquered other peoples in their path, and he fears they will do the same to him. So he goes to a sorcerer named Balaam to curse them. On their way to go stand over the Israelite encampment and cast curses, a strange but memorable scene occurs. Balaam is riding his donkey, a trusted steed of many years. God sends an angel with a sword to stop them. The angel positions itself in the donkey's path, but Balaam cannot see it. Only the donkey can. So she veers off the path into an open field. Oblivious to her true intentions, Balaam beats the donkey and steers her back to the road. There again, the angel appears and the donkey swerves a second time, crushing Balaam's foot on a wall on the side of the road. Again, Balaam is incensed and he hits the donkey with his switch. The angel appears a third time and positions itself in a spot so narrow that there is nowhere for the donkey to go, so she stops dead in her tracks and lays down. Again, Balaam is furious. But when he hits her for the third time, God opens her mouth and she speaks. "What have I done to you that you have beaten me these many times?" Balaam responded, "You've made a mockery of me. If I had a sword with me, I'd kill you." But the donkey replies, "Look, I am the donkey you've been riding all along until this day. Have I been in the habit of doing this kind of thing to you?" Dejectedly, Balaam answers, "No." Only then does God open Balaam's eyes so that he can see the angel. So basically, all of this is to say that when my horse was crushing my leg against the fence, it was because he was seeing angels. This changes everything. But seriously, something really interesting has happened in this fable. Balaam is riding around thinking he has a pretty good sense of where he is headed. And when the donkey takes him off course, he is livid. He resorts to violence and cruelty. Never does it occur to him to think about what the donkey might know that he does not. And God has an interesting, if miraculous, solution to that problem. God gives the oppressed donkey a voice. And when she gets to speak, she doesn't say, "Hey, there's an angel up there with a sword, so maybe back off." Instead, she says, "Hey, have you ever stopped to think about this from my perspective? We've been together a long time, and this is not like me, so maybe take a hint and lay off." The donkey is given the opportunity to tell her story, and Balaam is speechless in the face of her truth. How often in life do we fail to see something from another person's perspective? We encounter an issue and we are sure that everyone involved is experiencing the issue the exact same way that we are. And of course, this is natural. We live inside our own minds and experiences. But conflicts arise out of our inability or our unwillingness to imagine the other person's perspective. So we must work to cultivate that ability. Psychologists study this. They call it theory of mind. In one experiment, participants were seated at a desk looking at images of a second imaginary person seated either across from them or next to them. Then they were asked to describe objects sitting between them and this fictitious other person. If the person was supposedly seated next to them, then their perspective was largely the same and the task was easy. But if the other person was seated across from them, then they would be looking at the reverse side of the object. The researchers found that this task was much harder and took the participants longer to complete because they were having difficulty seeing things from the other person's perspective. Then the researchers asked how much they thought they would like that other imaginary person. People who'd been asked to picture the perspective of someone sitting across from them were more likely to rate that person favorably than people who had to imagine someone sitting next to them. In this study and other variations on it, researchers have found that when we force ourselves to use our theory of mind and picture something from another person's perspective, we like them more, trust them more, and are more open to their needs. When we can escape our own perspective, we build a deeper bond with that other person. And how do we cultivate theory of mind? The Torah reminds us of the easiest way. We listen to other people. We cannot know another person's experience, but we can ask them. We won't even begin to understand them as long as they are silent. And because people are not donkeys, it does not take a miracle to hear from them. Anything we can do to hear the stories of other people expands our ability to think empathetically. It increases the accuracy of our theory of mind. The rabbis were curious what happened to the donkey. Once Balaam can see the angel, she's not mentioned again. Some say she died immediately after. So powerful was her testimony that our tradition silences her again. 15th century commentator Isaac Abarbanel has an interesting variation on that theory. He says that it was only the donkey's animal nature that died, that she was recreated into a speaking being. When we cannot hear the voices of others, it is easy to dehumanize them, to lose sight of their humanity. When one person does violence to another, either physical or emotional, it is often possible because he rejects the other person's humanity. But when you have heard another person's story, they are redeemed from this dehumanization, transformed from a beast into a human being. This is part of the religious project, to challenge us to be ever better at hearing the voices of others. Our Torah portion gives voice to the experience of a non-Jewish prophet, an outsider who we might not at first understand. And at the center of the parsha, even the lowly donkey gets a chance to speak. And in this way, Balaam gains the ability to see that which was before hidden to him, and so do we. Why are people of faith so concerned with the cause of justice, with the plight of the stranger and the immigrant and the refugee? I think it is partially because we have cultivated our theory of mind. When I see images on TV or in the paper of immigrants crowded in cages or fathers and daughters drowned on a beach, I cannot imagine how anybody wouldn't see that these are people with stories of hope and fear, agony and aspiration. As a person of faith, I am called not only to ask, how did this happen, but who are they? What was their story? After Balaam's run-in with his donkey and the angel, he cannot do as King Balak commands. When he stands on the mountain to curse the people, blessings pour out of his mouth instead. Once he has learned to broaden his theory of mind, he cannot curse other people. He cannot see them as less than. He can only marvel at how their camp is beautiful, even if it is different than his own. To be a Jew in the world, I believe, is to listen to the prophetic voice of the donkey, the voice of the victim, the oppressed, the overlooked, the silenced. We all need more practice at seeing other people's perspectives. We all need more practice at silencing our own voices so that we can lift up the voices of others. Because only through doing so are we capable of living a life of blessing. Shabbat Shalom. We begin the concluding prayers of our service on page 282 with the words of Aleinu L'Shabeach, and invite you please to rise in body or in spirit.
Aleinu L'Shabeach Ladon HaKol, Latet Gedula Leotzer Breshit, Shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim, Lifnei Melech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 287. V'ne'emar b'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo u'shemo
Page 288. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arm around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved, and if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones and those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, life and death. Our hearts go out in sympathy to the families of Rita Bell Morgan and Mervyn Rosenbaum and Daniel Adam Rosen, who were laid to rest this past week. We also recall the yard sites, the anniversaries of the deaths of Sarah Axelrod, Sue Baird, Fred Berg, Ruth Brown, Edward Buddy Brooks, David Brown, Paul Brown, Virgil Clark, Elaine Clark, Eleanor Koblitz, Shava Kogan, Francis Weinstein Davidson, Abe M. Davis, Yaffa Drasnin, George Edelstein, Florence Edwards, Lena Eisenberg, Sadie Ellis, Rachel Fetterman, Lisa Ann Federow, Mildred Besser Fillion, Gregory Finkelstein, Lucy Fiss, Lillian Frank, Mary D. Gates, Stephen Richard Gans, Barry Gerber, Harold Goldberg, Saul Golub, Melvin Goodman, Dorothy Grant, Esther Greenberg, Chester Grevsky, Ferenc Grossman, Eudice Grossman, Esther Grossman, Sally Held, Philip Held, Lorraine Isaacs Hoffler, Dorothy Eiselberg, Charlene Joachim, Mrs. Callan Tarove, Mona Faye Camion, Edward Karish, Joseph Cates, Joseph L. Keeper, Rose Kemney, Jean Klein, Perry B. Klein, Walter Klein, Vera G. Klein, Marjorie Wolf Landing, Jacob Levy, Elise Levine, Elsie Levine, Herbert Levine, Doris Payne Levine, Yvonne Little, Clara Lurie, Miriam Mallon, Mary G. Miller, Leon Miller, Hessie Myron, Helen Mullen, Saul Norman, Sidney G. Old, Lillian Peterstein, Sarah Rabinowitz-Petsakoff, Jackie Proler, Molly Marion Prizant, Edward J. Pulaski, Ray Rachofsky, Alec Rocher, Perla Roth, Alan Rummelt, S. Senkari, Lisa Kurtz Shield, Robert Schnitzer, Sherry Berman Schreiber, Amy Schwartz, Joseph Siegel, Andrew Lionel Selig, Helen Gelfon Shackett, Martin Sherman, Esther Silber, Harold Slavin, Carl Solomon, Regina Spiegel, Raina Bernice Satterlow, Harold S. Sattlerow, Jack Stein, Jay Sterling, Sigmund Strauss, Mervyn Tatter, Marilyn Taubman, Meyer Tillum, Ellis Teich, Ruth Van, Sam Wagner, Morris Whiteman, Mary Dinner Wolf, and Marilyn Zimmerman. If there are others that you're recalling on this Shabbat, or if I've misspoken any of the names on the list, I invite you to share those names as my eyes meet yours. The words of Mourner's Kaddish, our memorial prayer, can be found on page 294. Please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma tivrach chirutei v'yamich malchutei, b'chayachon v'yomechon, v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'galau v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam omei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'ne'emata, ta'amiram be'ama v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav,
Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imenu. Amen.
You may be seated as we continue with Kiddush, which can be found on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu b'charta, v'otanu kidashta, b'kol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodecha, v'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mikadesh haShabbat. Amen. L'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. We close with the words "When We Sing" found in your handout. When we sing, when we sing, when we sing, we pray twice. When we sing, when we sing, when we sing, we are one.
Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, open us up in the way that only you and a new melody can. And in that openness, allow us to be present to the stories of others. We thank you for the many blessings in our lives, and we say together, Amen.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.